One Punch Man. That's right. We're here. We're in and starting whenever the next fucking chapter comes out. We're reviewing One Punch Man on this channel.
Finally.
So this video
Finally
is for.
did it.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, congratulations. What this video is for is just us kind of talking about the story up until now, our thoughts on it, just like we did with Dr. Stone when we started reviewing that. Thurman, you take it away first.
Man, this arc, it's so sexy. I'm not gonna spoil. Well, I guess I can.
Well, we're talking about the whole
can.
series, not just the most recent arc.
So
your thoughts on everything up till now.
So, like I said, we did One Punch Man videos before, so this might be a little repeated. But man, everything up to this point has just been phenomenal. The writing, the characters, it's very one storytelling, and one is the type of guy who knows how to write a very overpowered character well.
He's a unique author on the I don't know if I'd say on the level of Araki, but it's one of those authors that when I see a story from him, it immediately feels like him. You know what I'm saying? Like I immediately am like, oh, that's him. Like when I started watching Mob Psycho, I was like, oh, this is him, and it's so unique. Like everything he does is such a unique, different style. And I think one of the things I really want to call him out for that sounds like a negative, give him praise for, is how good he is at subverting expectations. I think one of my favorite moments, getting caught up, one of my favorite moments was the tournament that Saitama was in. And I don't remember the name of the dude, but you remember the dude that they kind of set up like he was going to be a big villain?
Mm-hmm.
Like he had the weird eyes and shit. You remember him?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they set him up so well like he was going to be a villain. He had multiple chapters where he just went through and demolished every one of those crazy strong fighters, and then he demolished the really, really strong guy that fucking destroyed everyone else. And it was like a hard battle for him, and he was just destroying him, and he's like, and he even did the there was all this text about oh man, we're gonna have to watch out for him. And I think even Genos, didn't he get fucked up by him too?
Yeah, Genos fucked up by it.
He was stupid strong, and it was basically really all the text, all the ways it was drawn, it was implying that he was gonna come back. And so I'm not stupid. I'm not one of those people that's like, oh my god, maybe Saitama can't beat him. Of course he can. But what I thought was gonna happen was just, he's gonna be in the shadows for a while, and he's gonna be a threat until Saitama eventually encounters him. But what does fucking one do? My boy. Yeah, I believe the guy on the ground who was all defeated, he was like, oh man, I guess you're gonna want to prepare and be very careful and train so you can maybe one day beat him. And then Saitama's just like, nah, I'll go do it now. And I was like, what? So he just fucking goes into the city, you hear a bunch of explosion noises, and then he just brings back his decapitated head, and I was shocked. I was like, I shouldn't be surprised by this by now, but I still am. He continues to subvert. This is the thing that makes this a parody manga. It still has very good elements of actual shonenness, but it it just like Gintama does. It mixes legitimate good moments and emotional moments and good action in there. But it's moments like that remind you this is a comic making fun of shonen comics. That's the point. So yeah, I loved that moment.
Still technically a seinen, though.
What is? One Punch Man?
Yes.
How so?
That's a demographic. We talked about this, and you didn't believe me, and you looked it up, and you were like, wow, it's stupid.
Okay. But yeah, and another thing I want to talk about is Garu as a character. Am I pronouncing that right? Garu?
Yes, Garu was one of my favorite characters.
Oh, he surprised me how good he was, man. That fight between him and what did he go through? 10 fucking people?
Yeah.
They just kept coming. It was that huge group with and then it was that one went for 3 chapters, and then of course Genos and Bang and his fucking brother show up, and then that went for a while, and then the Monster Association shows up trying to recruit him. It's just so much. And again, as I've said a million times, what one does so well is make me believe shit that isn't really going to happen. So there are multiple moments through that fight, and this goes for every single One Punch Man fight. Multiple moments. There are multiple moments where I'm like, okay, it's over now, right? Okay, the fight's over. So I lean back. Okay, fight's over. Nope, it's still going. Okay, fight's over. Nope, it's still going. This goes, like, every fight in One Punch Man goes for, like, 3 times as longer as I think it's going to go. And I respect the fuck out of that. Because a lot of shonen, it feels like they're trying to avoid fights going on that long. Because I imagine that's, they're hard to do. It's a lot of work drawing a fight, right? So it seems like a lot of shonen, they do the whole, like, Bleach had a massive problem with this, where they would do, like, one clash, make you think it's going to be a big fight, and then they just talk, But this, I respect it because it's always continuing the fight and never cheating you out. You never feel cheated out of action. So yeah, Garou as a character really, really shot up as one of my favorite villains. One of my favorite parts about him is that he is truly chaotic neutral. Like, he never stepped out of his neutral frame. Because even like the amount of times the Monster Association was like, surely you'll join us now, and he's like, no, fuck off. No matter what scenario he was in, like, Monster Association's like, and he's like, no. Yes. All right.
Garou is a character that, and that's the one thing I like about One, man. And I said this before. One specialty I feel like is drawing is essentially portraying the emotional state.
Oh yeah.
Someone who's overpowered, someone who has a lot, a character who's already essentially reached their peak, went past their limit, and then as us as readers looking at that and seeing the struggles of being powerful. Because in other series like Dragon Ball Z, like Hunter x Hunter. Well, I'm not gonna say Hunter x Hunter, but like Bleach, like.
No, I know what you're saying. Most series do the whole, you start off as weak, you get stronger. It's like One looked at all that and was like, what would happen if I did the opposite?
It's perfect. Like even like we have characters that have this or in these series have super potential. Train, they get power. Naruto, for example, Goku, Ichigo, like fucking like Edward, like all these characters are destined. They start off weak, but we see them grow and get stronger as the series progresses. Yeah, I like that, I do. But One twists that shit over its head. One's like, you know what? No, we're gonna talk about a character who was already powerful enough, a character who's already reached their peak. And the struggles of that, the struggle of being all powerful, because it's one of those things where you want to be Saitama, you want to be Mob, you want to be all powerful.
No, I don't.
Well, I'm just saying in general. This is what people want. That your average schmo, they want to. They don't want to feel weakness. They want to feel like they have all the power.
You got to find that middle balance, right? I think that's kind of the lesson of the show. And did you ever, Thurman? Have you ever? This is going to be a cultured reference time. Cultured reference alert here. I need to get a fucking banner every time I make a cultured reference, just to make fun of the fact that I feel smarter than people. Like, that's the joke. I'm trying to be smarter than everyone else. And yeah, it crushes me on the inside. Twilight Zone. There's an episode where someone dies, and they think that they're in heaven. And, basically he's in heaven, so, like, you win everything. Like, the idea was, every time there's a casino, and you'll always win. Ask a woman to fuck you, she'll always say yes. Like all these different things. Like literally anything will always go in your favor. And at first 3 months, he's loving it. He's like, yes, this is great, this is amazing. But as the human mind works, it starts to make it drives him fucking crazy. He misses that opposition because a lot of the fun is in the chase. So, for example, how fun is gambling if you're winning all the time? A year passes by, he's begging to lose. Another year passes by, he's begging a woman to fucking slap him in the face and tell him no, because all he's ever gotten is that same thing over and over again. Everything goes his way, so there's no interestingness and variety in his life. And then the twist at the end of that episode is that he's actually in hell, not in heaven. That's the twist. So, in this regard, Saitama, everything goes his way, and as you see, he's completely lost the ability to be excited anymore, because what causes excitement? Adrenaline rushes. And what are adrenaline rushes? Instincts from our very, very primal past that basically make us, fight or flight, bring up our, yada, and you get that from things like movies with intense parts, scary things, and maybe like a haunted house, roller coasters, right? But if Saitama is truly at a level in his life where his body just doesn't feel excitement because he's so fucking high above everyone else. That must be a hellish existence.
And that's beautifully written. It's looking at the point from where, do you really want to have all this power? Do you really want to be all powerful? Because even someone who has all this power, even someone who's as skilled as Garou, even someone who's as strong as Saitama, even they have their and like I showed you in the thing, it's he writes Saitama so beautifully. The fact that Saitama trained to get this strong because he didn't want to feel weak, because he wanted to help. But
clearly something went wrong. Like I don't think he ever wanted to be this strong. He wanted to be stronger. You know, like he probably would have been happy with being as strong as, you know, that guy from the tournament, because then you're not ungodly strong. But he's at a part where it's just like it's torture. And that's actually something that keeps me driving me through reading this series. I really want to find out what the fuck happened there, because as he's explained, it all happened in one day. Like it's just, and then all of a sudden his hair's gone, he's fucking strong. You know what I mean? Like something clearly happened there. Characters in universe have referred to it as he broke his limiter, as in like all human beings have like just a natural cap that's placed on us, and he just broke it somehow. So I really want to know what caused that to happen. You know what I mean? I have a hard time believing it is simply just how he trained, because his training regimen, well, impressive, is still pretty normal. Like that's kind of, every time he says it, they're like, that's a really normal exercise. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously 5 miles a day, that's quite a bit, but, still, it's nothing that I don't believe that would break your limiter. So, I mean, like, that's something I want to find out in the future of the series. What caused him to become like this?
And the one thing that one does too is that, I don't know if you remember this during the Sea King arc, that he's so powerful that everyone else, he's cheating. It doesn't feel like he's the recognition that he's so powerful that, and that's the one thing that it pissed me off. But I think that was one's point.
Yep.
The one guy in the manga who decided to, say like, well, if he beat him one punch, then what does that make all the other superheroes? That pissed me off. But I think that was one's point. One was trying to get us to understand is that the fact that Saitama's whole existence, Saitama's thing was, we had seen all these superheroes fight this one dude, and they got demolished. And then Saitama comes up and one-shots him. And it's something that I feel like DC and Marvel Comics, American superhero comics, don't really talk about, is the fact that, like, it's one of those situations to where people expect the heroes to always win. People expect the heroes to always, essentially win at that point. But then one is like, okay, well, they won, but why is the crowd still upset? Why is that one dude talking shit when
because I think what he's saying is people always expect a struggle too, you know what I mean? So like people are a lot more likely to believe that the villain was a lot weaker than he said, than that this random guy is just really strong. So, this happens to people. There are people in this world that are so good at shit that people don't believe that they're this good. Here's an example you'll like. You like Smooth McGroove, right?
Yeah.
Smooth McGroove gets copyright strikes on his videos because his singing is so close to the actual thing.
Mm-hmm.
That is a perfect metaphor for what happens to Saitama. They literally say, there's no way you can be that strong. Clearly you're cheating. You know what I mean? Same thing as, oh my god, clearly he's not really acapelling. He's just playing the song. The bots think he's cheating. Like, that's what happens when you're that good at something. So it's basically a double-edged sword where not only has he lost all excitement in life, but he can't even get the credit for it because everyone assumes that it's bullshit. And plus, that's how you lead into, basically, I would argue one of my favorite characters in the series, King. Oh, can we just appreciate King for a second, please?
Yes. Jesus.
Bow down to your king!
King fits Saitama as an opposite very well.
King
I think Garou does. I think Garou does too. I think Garou does too on the evil spectrum, but King does so on a normal human spectrum, right? Because King's someone who's never really had, like, it's been shown that King has always been mistaken because Saitama is always there to one shot, right?
Yep,
so
and that's why. So I really like their friendship because they kind of help each other. Okay, one of my favorite moments with Saitama and King's friendship, and this is why I seriously think they're really good for each other. As a friendship, by the way, let's not get into yaoi here. I think there was a moment where Saitama opened up to King. Do you remember that conversation? That was a really good conversation.
Yeah. Oh,
beautiful, and beautiful. It was not only was it a really good conversation, but I think my favorite part about that was Saitama was talking about how he can't feel excitement for things anymore. King, he offers, hey man, I can still beat your ass in video games, and then they go and play video games, and that's one of the few times you see Saitama showing emotion. He's still able to get into that. Like, I don't know if you noticed that. He's like, you motherfucker, I'm gonna beat you. And then he's like, well, I can play you with one hand behind my back. You know what I mean? Like, that right there was giving Saitama what he thought he didn't have anymore, which was emotions and the ability to feel like stress and like, oh, you know what I mean? So like King kind of gives him that through his great skill in video games, and that's why I think that was a really cool friend thing for King to do for him, because King is always portrayed as like a really selfish kind of character, but he that was really nice of him to do for Saitama.
They fit each other so well, because one of the things that I liked about that is when Saitama finds out that King's not really strong, and then Saitama gives him, like, if you're as weak as you say you are, you don't like being as weak as you are, train like I did, and you'll... Because one thing that's good about Saitama is is, I wouldn't say pity, what's the word I'm looking for? Condolences,
apologetic?
Feels, I guess so. It's less
feels,
negative, more positive.
Guilty?
He sympathizes with
there you go.
the weak, because Saitama was once weak, and the fact that he sees Justice Rider, King, and stuff like that, he doesn't look down upon them. He doesn't really see them as anything less. It's because that he says this to the martial arts guy. He says, I used to be weak, but I worked my ass off and gained the strength that I have now. Mm-hmm. So you shouldn't feel bad for being to get stronger. And that's the great thing about Saitama is that Saitama is a character that knows the blight of being weak, and that's why that's the one thing that I love about One's writing so much, is that One makes overpowered characters seem so relatable. Like even Mob, for example. Mob is the type of character.
Boy.
Mob is the character is the opposite of Saitama, but in the aspect of Saitama wants to feel excitement and stuff like that, but so does Mob. But Mob wants to do that on a different level, right? Mob wants to essentially become a character, wants to feel emotion. And
I'm literally sitting next to a Mob Psycho wall scroll right now.
Mob is, and it's just like, I know we're not getting to Mob Psycho territory here, but
last thing I'll say about Mob Psycho, I'll confirm it right now. When season 2 comes out, you and I are reviewing it.
So I know the manga's ended, but I'll definitely review the manga too.
Well, we'll review the anime season, because I actually quite like what they do with the anime, because they move stuff around, because the webcomic was actually really weirdly paced, so they kind of fix the pacing in the anime.
And so my final thoughts on the whole catch-up is that One Punch Man is a beautifully well done series that I can't wait to review, because even the supporting characters, right? Like,
they're so good. They're all so well made.
Like Child Emperor, Genos, fucking King,
Tank Top Master.
Like Tatsumaki's little sister, who's struggling to find her own way, but she can't do that because she has an older sister who won't let her do that. Right? Yep. You know how hard it is to finally be your own person, but your older sibling who's so overprotective won't let you do that? Like, that's suffocation. It's suffocating, right? And you have Child Emperor who I gained way more respect for this last chapter, these last 2 chapters, because you forget that he's still a child. Mm-hmm. He's still, even
though it's in the name.
He's still a vulnerable kid. Sometimes you forget in these type of series that these characters are still human. These characters still feel emotion, and One does that perfectly. Even Metal Bat.
His fight with the fucking centipede, bro.
My favorite part about the Garou versus Metal Bat was when Metal Bat's sister came in and she was like, "Nope, fight's over," and then Garou was just like, "Fuck it, I'm leaving." Like,
Yeah.
bro, like, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
Oh, can we just respect how the end of that fight where or the fight where he's protecting that kid in the barn and he's like deflecting all the shots from the barn? Oh my god, that page that was hype.
so overall, man, I hope, man, I can't wait.
Look forward to the reviews every time. Whenever fucking it seems to be inconsistent whenever the chapters come out, but typically what we'll do is whenever they come out on Manga Stream, we'll review them. So get hyped for that. It's gonna be fun as fuck because there's good action to talk about. There's good comedy to talk about. And every time King shows up, I'm gonna fucking die because he's hilarious. Oh, get hyped. Peace.